I'm not trying to be
Hey, what's up guys? It's Shadows and Light. Today we're going to be bringing you a video on the latest Mortal Kombat 1 patch that just released. I won't be going over every specific thing, as a lot of the actual patch notes were a lot of, like, you know, added skins, Takeda was added, and some other, you know, rare bug fixes, so I won't really be going over that. However, I do want to address a few of the major changes in this latest patch, as it was a pretty big patch in comparison. So without further ado, let's jump right into this here. One of the main general patch changes that I've noted here was the uppercut jump cancel. It's now has 4 hits of armor and has consistent damage scaling, so we're going to be doing more damage, and you're actually going to have a couple bits of armor there, but along with slowing the opponent, pulling them towards, while disabling the opponent's ability to use breaker or cameo until they land. So it's actually a buff to the uppercut cancels in the game that take about 2 bars to do on a punish. On like a high punish, you can uppercut them, but now they can't actually use breaker. And in a game where breaker is gonna save your life, if you can't use breaker, it's obviously going to be pretty effective in high ranks level of play. So that's a note that was pretty good on the general changes. I did like that. All the rest are going to be bug fixes and some other, you know, considering some moves airborne, but let's go ahead and get into a lot of the character specific changes in this patch. And I'm also not going to be going over every single character, as some characters got more love than others. We're just going to be going over the ones that are, you know, more significant. Starting out with Li Mei, she definitely got a lot of specific changes here, but the main one is that she got a new move called Rising Sun, and it's basically the away plus back punch but back kick, and that's going to be like a mid launcher that starts off as a mid and then the other one's a high, but it's another way to get your launcher in for Li Mei while using your mid. Next up is going to be Forces of Light. It's another move, and that it moves further forward this time around. Front punch, back kick is Seeking Sanctuary and moves further forward. So a lot of the trend is they want her to get more range, as she has none, and they want her moves to be a little bit more forward advancing. The next change is the double palm cancel frame is 1 frame earlier. That's away plus back punch. Nova Burst, away plus back punch front punch, starts 3 frames faster. So that's a quicker move, and it fixes a fatal blow hitting certain cameos, causing incorrect hit animation. Now the main thing I wanted to note is that she actually got increased walk speed this patch, and that's pretty good because on top of some of her moves being a little bit more forward advancing now, the increased move speed is going to help her just bridge the gap a tiny bit more, as she already was struggling with a little bit of her range. Moving on to Natara, she actually as well got some changes, mainly air. Dark Plunge now does a ground bounce hit reaction and has up block vulnerability. So that's her dive kick. It has a ground bounce hit reaction on non-amplify, actually, which is pretty big. If you've ever used Natara, you'd know that her regular dive kick used to just do a hard knockdown. So that's the change right there. Air Enhanced Dark Plunge has 20 more frames of block stun with more pushback, 10 more frames of block stun on flawless block, and up block vulnerability. It has up block vulnerability. So that's essentially making her dive kick enhanced version way more plus on block, essentially completely safe, and on flawless block and up block it has vulnerability. So that's making the enhanced meter burn version of her dive kick insanely good. Bloody Bolt can no longer be canceled into air specials on block or miss. So right, it basically is that other move that she used when she buffs herself and can do her only projectile. They're saying you can no longer you know, do the air specials out of it to get certain stuff, but they did add an additional hit during the projectile startup, and it has had its damage adjusted and can no longer be canceled into air attacks or block miss. So essentially you can combo from the enhanced projectile that Natara has now with the additional hit that they've added. So slight adjustment there for her character, but overall we'll be adding some more gameplay for that character. The air dash landings now allow buffered basic attacks, so when you're kind of coming in, you can buffer those attacks on the air dash, and your enhanced leap of faith can be canceled 3 frames earlier. So that's all the Natara changes. Moving on, we have Scorpion, who got a couple of different changes, one being that Sidekick now has 9 more frames of hit advantage. The first 2 hits of Sweeping Scorpion Tail now hit mid and can be 2-in-1 canceled into special moves. So this is his back 3. It used to be a low, long range low with the sickle basically hitting low and then having a double hit effect. Now it could be 2-in-1 cancel, meaning it's going to start as a mid instead of a low, but the second hit is a low and can be canceled before the second hit into any special move. So give him a different type of mid combo starter, which I don't think he necessarily needed that long range mid, but that's the changes that they, you know, went with this time around. So the first 2 hits of Sweeping Scorpion now hit mid right. Enhanced Flame Port recovers 7 frames faster and can no longer enables auto block the first time in a combo. Fatal Blow hit region size increased when opponent is in a combo, and fixed visual effects from enhanced Devouring Flame lingering during brutality. So that was like a visual bug fix. Next we're moving on to Sub-Zero, who has one of his changes to his heavy toe front kick. It has 2 more frames of hit advantage, so just plus 2 more on block. Or on hit, I'd rather. Ice Clone has an increased hit region and significantly increased hit region when opponent is in a combo. So Ice Clone combos are going to be easier to do for you Sub-Zero mains out there. Deadly Vapors no longer enables auto block the first time in a combo. And it fixed Ice Clone charge hit region lingering after connecting with one character. So another bug fix for Sub-Zero. Next we have Quan Chi, who got a significant change because they added a new move. They just love giving Quan Chi new moves. I don't know why. He's gotten basically the most in the game so far. But they've given him a new move called Best Foot Forward, and essentially is a long range hard knockdown mid that sounds pretty annoying to deal with. And then they fixed one of his visual effects for his throw escape. Now moving on, we have Homelander, who just got completely nerfed, with a lot of his flight diabolical dash being less. It has 6 more recovery frames, so that's going to just be an overall nerf to any time he does that air dash move. And then a lot of the rest of the changes were 2-in-1 cancels, not being able to be, you know, they shouldn't really be able to be canceled on. So it's a lot of it was actually technically bugs that he was able to do some of what Homelander was able to do. So now they've fixed a lot of those bugs moving forward. And so now we're going to get into the cameos. That was all of the basic fighters. The rest of them just kind of got a lot of visual, you know, rare bug fixes. But the cameos are now going to start with Cyrax. So Cyrax can now, while holding self-destruct, he can now move, which is pretty big because now he could reposition where he wants that bomb setup to really go off on. On top of that, the main fighter will no longer take damage if Cyrax is hit while holding self-destruct, right? So that's a pretty big change. Cyrax will drop his bomb if he is hit while holding self-destruct. It's a huge change. Before it used to go away, now the bomb's going to come out anyways, so a lot more Cyrax usage. Self-destruct explosion hit region increase and has 1 more active frame, so bigger, better self-destruct. Copter Chopper can now choose to direct the opponent being hit to fly towards or away. So you can choose where they're directionally going when they get hit by the copter. Horizontal Copter Chopper now has white glow on Cyrax when it is executed. And fixed horizontal Copter Chopper sometimes being able to be performed while cameos are disabled. Okay. Next we have Darius. So Darius got a new follow-up attack. Ground Invitational can be performed by holding down during delay heel turn. So that's his new sweep attack he has out of his cameo stance. New follow-up attack Army of Two can be performed while pressing flip stance during delay heel turn. The double Daigen kick now drains 1 bar of super meter from opponent when it hits. So you can now actually basically you have an option to drain the opponent's 1 bar at the end of the full cameo consumption. Twister kicks can, when done as a follow-up to the double whammy, refills cameo meter with each hit. Jump cancel after the double whammy hits can be performed while holding up. The double whammy hit reaction gravity adjusted. Twister kicks first 2 hits no longer cause stumble animation when blocked. And then the rest was a visual change. Frost has gotten a new move. This is now the Frost cameo. She has a new ice wall, which is essentially corner wherever you go. She could just put up an ice wall right behind the opponent and it acts like a corner anywhere mid-screen or anywhere at all. And then it fixed several visual issues that could occur while forward throw brutality. Okay. Next, Goro. Goro has increased recharge rate of punch walk, and raise the roof can now be canceled into dead weight or punch walk before the attack is performed. So he does raise the roof, it can be canceled, and he's doing punch walk or dead weight. Punch walk can be canceled into dead weight or Shogun Stomp after any of his punches. Shogun Stomp can now have a white glow on Goro when it's executed, and fixed Shogun Stomp, sometimes being able to perform while camos are disabled. So Goro got a buff where he can essentially cancel any of his moves into themselves after he does raise the roof. Jax only got a reduced recharge rate of energy wave and now has 10 more recovery frames on block or miss. The Kung Lao cameo, Away We Go, will no longer interact with a player who is in a hit reaction. Motaro has no longer a Centurion Wrap interacting with the player who is in a hit reaction. Centurion Wrap can be directed to different ranges after grabbing his partner and has slightly increased meter refill delay. Fatal Blow Charge now has armor, so that's interesting. And fix a rare issue. Okay. The Scorpion cameo has a new move, Aura of Flame, and hold cameo button during fire breath. So you just hold R1 and you'll get, well, this is on PlayStation, but if you hold the cameo button with Scorpion, you can get the Aura of Flame. Sector cameo activates now. The homing rockets now fire 2 missiles instead of 1, right? And the up rocket starts up 5 frames faster and has a different hit reaction. When the flamethrower is blocked or missed, players cannot choose or perform second hit by holding away cameo button. Activate homing now has a white glow on sector when it's executed, and fixed a visual bug. Okay, I won't be going over too much of Shijinko fixes, as a lot of them are just bug fixes. But Shijinko will no longer take double damage after a specific window of Homelander's flight air laser. Moving on to the Sub-Zero cameo. The fixed Cold Shoulder, sometimes being able to be performed while cameos are disabled. Next we have Chameleon, who got major nerf this patch. Fan Lift will no longer interact with a player who is in a hit reaction, so no longer can you just armor Fan Lift through certain attacks. If Chameleon is hit before Glaive returns, it will no longer return regardless of the main fighter blocking. Side Toss has 31 more frames of vulnerability to attacks. That's just a nerf. Roll has 18 more frames of vulnerability to attacks or miss. That's just a nerf. So across the board, she's been heavily nerfed on all of her cameo attacks. Glow has 44 more frames of vulnerability to non-projectile attacks. Glaive has 9 more frames of vulnerability to attacks. Fan Toss has 45 more frames of vulnerability to attacks, and Fan Lift has 29 more frames of vulnerability to attacks. So across the board, Chameleon has just went down in the tier list. Janet Cage cameo fixed an issue with the stunt double lingering, and Movado's best feet forward and nin drop now have maximum height they can perform at. Okay, so before you could probably just do those anytime. Now you kind of can't. And those are the main added changes to the patch. Obviously there are more, and I'll put them on link in the description so you guys can read all the individual fixes. However, I just wanted to briefly go over the direction of where I think this patch is going, and I think I like that the cameos are being changed in some of the ways that they are. Essentially like buffing certain cameos to be a little bit more viable, giving certain cameos, you know, just different utility or new moves is a welcome change. They obviously didn't do that for every cameo, so they nerfed the best cameo, which was Chameleon, so that was definitely much needed. So I think they did a good job there. The specific balance patches for the characters, I think they tried to do something with Lee May, but she's probably going to still need a little bit more help. They tried to do something with Scorpion, but I don't think that that was exactly what Scorpion needed. He probably still needs more help, as he is still one of the worst characters in the game. And I think that the changes they made to Homelander were good because he needed to just be nerfed. The flight was too OP. Giving Quan Chi a new move is interesting since he already keeps giving new moves, but it was a way for him to be able to do something else at a distance. The Sub-Zero change is a way for him to get into different combo routes from his, you know, standing 2, but I think it's okay at best. It's going to help some of his air ice clone combos connect easier. And I think the biggest change was Natara. I think that's probably the most questionable change that they did. I like it as far as being a Natara main. It's going to help my character. However, I could see it being a problem that we now have a safe dive kick with the meter burn version of Natara's dive kick being safe. I just think that that's going to be super annoying to deal with online, given that you could just basically jump and do it and you're fine. It's very spammable. But that's about all the changes that I feel like I agreed with. I think the game is in a better state than it is now that they're finally fixing certain cameos, but we do need a little bit more from NRS to be able to get this game you know, in a better direction. I still think there's certain cameos that need to be improved on, and there's certain characters that definitely need to be buffed more than nerfed. I think we need a little bit more buffs for certain characters than I want to see nerfed. Nerfs are never really that fun. So overall, pretty good patch. You know, thank you guys for joining me in this video of MK1. I do like the direction they're going, but you know, we'll see how they treat the future patches. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.